What's going on, guys, and welcome back for another video tutorial. My name's Caleb, and today I'm going to be going over how to install an Openfire server inside of a container on Docker desktop. I'm making this video by request of one of our subscribers. Shout out to Aaron K1664. Thank you for the request. This is part 2 of the video series I'm doing for him. My last video was how to install Docker desktop and get it up and running. And in this video, I'm going to be going over how to deploy the actual Openfire server. So without further ado, we're going to jump over to the Docker Hub website. That's hub.docker.com. And I'm just going to do a quick search for Openfire. It'll come right up. When we click on it, we'll see that we're going to be using the 4.9.0 image, and there's some documentation here with some various options that you can include in the run command and what have you. But we're going to go ahead and jump straight into it and jump into our Docker desktop. Here you can see that I've already installed or pulled down the Openfire image. I'm actually going to undo that real quick just so that you guys can see the full process. So as you can see right now, this little screen here just blanked out because we don't have any images anymore. I just deleted it from the command line. The command to download this is going to be docker pull, and then you're going to specify the repository, which is nasquiron. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, / Openfire. If optionally, you can also put a colon here and specify a specific version. If you don't do that, it's going to assume the latest tag. As you can see right there, it just set it, and then it's going to pull the image down. Once the image is pulled down, we will see the image show up here in this window space, and we'll know that we have the image. We'll then build a container off of it. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the image. This image was created 2 months ago, so the latest version has been out for about 2 months, and that's what we're going to roll with. So now we're going to go over to containers, and as you can see, I don't have any containers running right now. We're going to go ahead and spin up this Openfire container and do a quick configuration. All right, so what I've done is I've grabbed the command from the Docker Hub documentation page for Openfire. I'm just going to paste that in, and I'm going to walk you through it real quick. We're invoking the command docker run. We're going to name our container Openfire. TAC D means we're going to detach from the interface as soon as this is done running. We're going to flag this as restart always. Actually, that's the default. I'm going to change this to unless stopped. Let me roll all the way back. If you have restart set to always, even if you manually stop the container, it's going to automatically restart it, and sometimes I don't like that behavior. So I'm just going to put unless stopped. And then we have tac publish. We're going to expose the port 9090 on the outside of the container to 9090 on the inside of the container. We're going to publish 5222 on the outside to 5222 on the inside. That's the XMPP port. I'm going to publish quad 7 on the inside to quad 7 on the outside. I'm going to establish a volume for persistence. This is where all of our configuration data is going to get stored, and that's going to be on the inside of the container at var lib openfire. And then we're calling out the repository and the image that we are going to be running. Right now, this container, as it's set up right now, will not support federation. In order for server-to-server communication to take place, you do need to add port 5269. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Publish 5269 outside to 5269 on the inside. All right, we're going to go ahead and run it. It is going to ask me, because this is the first time I've spun up a container on Docker Desktop, if Docker Desktop should be allowed access through the firewall. I am going to allow that, which you didn't see that pop up, but it did for me, and I clicked OK on it. Okay, so as you can see, we have our container is up and running, called Openfire. It's listing out the ports that are exposed, shows you the CPU usage. If we click on it, it will show you kind kind of a running history of what has happened. We can do an inspect to see all of the parameters configured in this container. Bind mounts. A bind mount is a type of volume where instead of an anonymous volume that's only accessible by the container, you can actually link it to a file structure somewhere on your actual hard drive. May make it easier to drop in files and pull files out for backup purposes or what have you. Exec, this is where you can actually run commands on the inside of the container. Files, it shows you what files exist inside, and since the container has run, what files have been modified. So it's actually kind of a handy thing. We'll also show you history for CPU, memory usage, disk read write, network I/O, etc. What we're going to do, now that we have this up and running, we are going to jump back over to our Chrome browser, and I'm going to navigate to localhost 9090, which brings me to my Openfire web interface for the initial configuration. So just like in my other videos, if you were to install this directly onto a laptop on a Windows operating system, or if you installed it on a server, this process is going to be identical. So we do want English, XMPP domain name. What do we want to call it? We will call it chat. Server hostname, we'll leave that as it is. This one's really important that you uncheck this. Anytime you run Openfire inside of a container, only way to access the admin console would be from inside the container. Right now, I'm doing it from a browser. Even though this container is running on my computer, the browser isn't connected inside the container. So you want to make sure and uncheck that, or else you'll never be able to access this GUI ever again after this initial setup. So we're going to click continue. We're going to use an embedded database. We're going to use local users and groups. In my other video, I do walk through how to configure LDAP or Active Directory integration. But for this one, we're just going to go with the default. I am going to go ahead and establish a nice strong password. And admin email address is kind of arbitrary, so that's not super necessary. All right, now we're going to go to the login console. I'm going to log in as admin. And now we have our containerized Openfire server up and running. First thing I'm going to want to do is go in and create myself a user that is not an administrator. This is going to be just my my regular user account that I use for chatting with people. I feel like those are different links. I must have typoed something. All right, that looks about right. So I've created a user. I'm now going to go into group chat. I'm going to create a new room. Room ID is going to be test1. Room name will be the same. Description will be the same. I'm going to save the changes. And then I'm going to create another room. Name this one test2. Save that. And then we are ready to go. You can fire up whatever your favorite XMPP client is and log into the server and start chatting away. Now, some considerations specifically for Aaron, who requested this video. If you're hosting this on a laptop, you're going to need to make sure that the firewall on the local Windows machine permits 5222 and optionally 5269 if you're doing server-to-server stuff. Those ports are going to be have to be allowed incoming to your computer. So you're going to have to go into the Windows firewall and add those in. I did do a video on how to do that. And then you're also going to have to provide the IP address of that laptop to anybody who you want to connect to it as a client. Optionally, if you're in a situation where you have DNS set up, you can also use your laptop's DNS hostname and provide that to people to connect to. Again, this is really a deployment for somebody who just needs something to get up and running really quick. If you're on a MUOS connection or something like that, and you just need to do local point-to-net, you don't have network connectivity back to the mothership or whatever it is, this would be a good solution for a small number of teams that potentially are working in the field or something like that. I hope this video was helpful. I really appreciate the suggestion to do this video for you. You can do 1 million different containers on Docker desktop. I obviously prefer to run all my containers in a very robust virtual machine on a server, but there are some situations where you may need to run something on your laptop. Oftentimes what I'll do is I'll spin up or configure some software on my home Docker setup, and then I can just export that image and bring it into work, and then do the final touches there to get everything up and running. That's a really cool thing about containerizing things. It makes everything really portable, really repeatable, and very mobile. So again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please consider tapping that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel. And if you have any comments, drop them in the box below. And please subscribe. Appreciate you guys' time. God bless, and have a good one.